We also know that AI is still in its relative infancy in application of things like a PPM tool for the PMO. So I want to ask, and maybe Lindsay, we can start with you, and then Mike, thanks for jumping back on. So we are a group of early adopters in this AI, assisting us in project management, specifically in PPM tools, and we're seeing it become more mainstream. We're seeing how Wawa has started to use this information to making good decisions. But we know that it being relatively new, I'd love to get the feedback from the three of you. Where do you see the role of AI in the PMO over the next 2, 5, or even 10 years? Lindsay, can we start with you and what your thoughts are? Where do you see us going?
Interesting one, isn't it? Where do we start?
Yeah.
I honestly think it's going to take a few years, because like I said before, I do believe that a lot of PMOs are actually underfunded in terms of technology, and have been for many years. So if that's not going to be changing anytime soon, that's really going to slow the ability to, obviously, for the PMO to be able to adopt this stuff in the first place. However, I did say that there's quite a lot of tools out there that allow you to do different bits, for example, automation, but that are inexpensive. I'd like to see that automation, actually, if we had to do anything within the next 5 years, that doing some of the basic cutting and pasting jobs, whatever they might be, have gone to a bot, and then we've got people within the PMO that picking up errors and stuff like that, but devoting their time to different PMO services that have an added value. Next 10 years, wouldn't it be lovely that we were doing really good predictive analytics? But I also think what goes hand in hand with this in terms of PMO is that we become better data storytellers. So the other side of it, the visualization of data and information, the bit, absolutely what we said before about getting senior execs to look at dashboards or whatever its equivalent might be in 10 years. We've got to be able to be, we're here to serve that organization, to support that organization in whatever it needs. And, we make sure that the technology doesn't run ahead, that we don't get our head turned by the shiny thing. It's got to be about what that business really needs to know about. And then we're using the right kind of tools and approaches to answer those questions.
Oh, the proverbial golden snitch. I remember being the head of the PMO and talking to executives and trying to convince them to stop chasing that shiny thing in the corner and to stay course to the plan and allow us to complete those things that we knew would bring us success. Great insight. Mike, what do you think? What role do you see that AI playing in the PMO 2, 5, 10 years from now?
So that's a great question. I would say probably over the next 2 years, I would say AI has a better opportunity in the portfolio management of projects, as far as helping to prioritize based off whether it's based off of IRR, based off of resources availability, based off of corporate priorities. I think in order to help companies in the decision support processing part of this, portfolio planning, I think, has its best opportunity for AI within the next 2 years. And if you look in the next 5 to 10 years, I think AI can definitely play a role from a predictive analytics standpoint in the project management world. And moving into AI, it's going to help projects be more successful, I believe, but it's also going to help the individual project managers, because in order for AI to be successful, and I know it's been mentioned multiple times, so I'll mention it one more time, predictive analytics and decision support systems is all about the data. If the data is not accurate, the AI will not help at all. So this will actually force project managers to make the data better, and actually not just better data, but to be more consistent. So is everyone doing risks and issues? Are we tracking status reports? Are we tracking cost? How are we tracking schedules at the task level, the milestone level? So the quality of the data and the consistency of the data, I think AI will drive that, which will make project managers better, which will then make the IA whether it's machine learning or predictive analytics, more accurate, and ultimately make project managers better, which ultimately ends in making projects more successful. So I see that happening over the next 5 to 10 years, but in the next 2 years, I see the best opportunity is in the portfolio management and analysis side.
Great answer. Thank you, Mike. And John, what are your thoughts?
Well, we know from all of the analysts that AI is coming, so I think that the PMOs need to embrace that, be proactive, and as Mike's saying, we're all saying, while you're waiting for it to come, focus on that data quality. You're going to have historical data, additional historical data. As Matt mentioned, you're going to feed the AI engine rules, and over time, you're going to be feeding it more rules, so you're going to get more results and better results. And so it's going to start off probably a little slow over the next 2 years as the technology becomes available. And then I think it's going to quickly accelerate in adoption and the value that it provides to the PMO in the coming years.
As a project manager by trade myself, I hope that in 10 years we're kicking back and we're communicating with the Alexas and the Googles of the world, and they're telling us everything based on the inputs that we've provided over the next 2 and 5 years, and that we become the heroes that I think every project manager really is, especially those who are leading project management offices.